I'd like to call to order the public hearing for proposed local law number 4 of the year, 2016, a local law authorizing a property tax levy in excess of the limit established in General Municipal Law, Section 3C. Will clerk please call?
His Honor the Mayor.
Here.
Councilor Reynolds. Councilor McLaughlin.
Councilor Sayer here.
Councilor Emmons.
Here.
Councilor Walker.
Here.
Councilor Gozick.
Here.
Councilor Van Buren.
Here.
Councilor Cordino.
Here.
All are present, Your Honor.
There is nobody signed up for this public hearing. Would anyone like to speak in regard to local law number 4? Seeing none, I will close this public hearing, and the public hearing regarding the proposed 2017 city operating budget will resume at 7:10. Can I have a motion and a second to close the public hearing? Councilor Van Buren, Councilor Walker. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilor Reynolds.
Yes.
Councilor McLaughlin.
Yes.
Councilor Emmons.
Yes.
Councilor Walker. Yes. Councilor Gozick.
Yes.
Councilor Van Buren.
Yes.
Councilor Cordino.
Yes.
The resolution passes 7-0.
Next public hearing will start at 7:10. I'd like to call to order the public hearing for the proposed 2017 city operating budget. Will clerk please call the roll? Here.
Councilor Reynolds. Councilor McLaughlin.
Here.
Councilor Emmons.
Here.
Councilor Walker. Councilor Gozick.
Here.
Councilor Van Buren.
Here.
Councilor Cordino.
Here.
All are present, Your Honor.
We have 5 people signed up to speak. I ask that you step up to the podium, state your name and address, and please keep your comments to 5 minutes if possible. First person signed up is Brooke Trevitt.
Finally. Wait, who said that?
Can I hold that for you?
It's okay.
Hey, I'm this nervous too.
Huh?
I'm nervous too.
No, I'm nervous of all the people with the cameras. I met the mayor before. Can I do it like this, please? Alright. Wait. Hang on. First. Hello, my name is Brooke. Okay. Hello, my name is Brooke. I wrote this letter so the firefighters can obviously not get cut or fired, but I have different signs. There's different ones. There's one like these, but the rest are at home or my grandparents' who knows where they are. This before was $30, but now it has 40. Here goes nothing. Dear Mr. Barlow. Hi, my name is Brooke. I live in Oswego, New York. I have a question. Can you not cut the firefighters? I have money to help the firefighters. It is important to have firefighters to have money. Firefighters help put out fires. They do donations to kids that are afraid of fires. Firefighters help our community. I have a bill of money for you. Come on. The money is my puppy savings. Oh, no. Then my mom told me that when you find a problem, you try to solve it. So for number 1, the money is my puppy savings. Number 2 is find a problem, you solve it. Firefighters are good. And then number 4, there's 2. Because I thought I was going to write a big sentence, but no. You work hard for the city, and then thank you for letting me speak. And then this says, help the firefighters have $1 million.
Thank you. Thank you. Good job. All right, thank you. Good job, Brooke. Next speaker is John Gerasi.
Brooke, you're a tough act to follow, I got to tell you. You helped me get some of my nerves out. Mr. Mayor, members of the Common Council, and residents of Oswego, my name is John Gerasi. I'm president of the Oswego Firefighters Association. So the dilemma we're in started about 2 weeks ago, Mayor, when you released your budget. You called for the cutting of 16 positions from the fire department, 15 by layoffs. The reason you gave in your press release was that the city was facing a $1 million deficit from the sale of the water tunnel, which you referred to as that short-sighted sale. And then when asked what detriment that would mean to the city, you responded that, well, I believe we're overstaffed. That we've looked at Cortland, for example, and Cortland had less members than we do. So I'd like to just address those 2 comments to begin with. When you first gave the budget and you said that, we were all anticipating that this would be a hard year with the loss of $1 million. I've known that as a union president for the last several, that this year would be a tough one when we came to it. When we got your budget and we opened it up and we looked at it, we realized that, wait a second here, this is not the fiscal austerity budget that I expected if the city was truly in this trouble. that we would be with the loss of $1 million, I shouldn't have seen increased line item spending across the board, especially in the DPW. And I got to say to the DPW folks out there and here, I think you guys do a great job, and I was there to support you when your jobs were on the line last year. But when talking about laying off 27% of the fire department, one would think that it means that the doors of City Hall are about to close. That was untrue. The $1.2 million came out of the general fund, in theory balances that $1 million revenue loss. The money that's coming out of the fire department, I guess it doesn't matter which way you want to look at it, makes up for the increased spending. So this budget that we're looking at, that we're voting on, that has put us in such financial turmoil, actually has more spending in it in other departments than it did last year. The second part, and we'll come back to more of the budget, was you said, you know, I've looked to other cities, which I think is extremely important. But, you know, you mentioned quickly that we looked at Cortland, and Cortland has less firefighters. Okay, I've looked at Cortland too, and they do have less firefighters, but they don't provide the same level of service or the same services that are provided here in the city of Oswego. The Cortland Fire Department provides fire protection. They do some codes work during the day, but they don't run a municipal ambulance service. A municipal ambulance service here, you know, raises $1.2 million or more in revenue, but it requires people to do it. We know it pays for 16 firefighters. I think we proved that in last year's budget cycle. At least 16 firefighters, if not more. So that is not quite the apples to apples comparison. I get that you guys are in a tough spot, right? You can't raise taxes anymore. You got to keep the taxing as low as possible. But if you're going to do that, you can't just come in and settle $1 million deficit on your one public safety department. If you're going to look to save that money, if that's truly the position we're in, and that's the last resort that we have, then wouldn't you think that across the board there would be decreased spending in all departments? One of the things you said about these cuts was that it wasn't going to affect public safety, the service we provide. A couple days after that, we had a budget workshop where Assistant Chief John Chago sat there and testified in front of you, the council. I think it was pretty clear that, albeit, you know, he has to do with what he's given, that there would be cuts to public safety, that there would be a decrease in service, that the effect would happen with how we do our jobs. That's your resident expert on the fire service, you know, for this budget process. And that resident expert told you that there will be a decrease of service. We will not be able to answer the calls the way we do now, which is already by hook or by crook, as short as we are, and that the residents will feel these cuts to safety. You mentioned the other day in a news release that negotiations broke down with the union. When this all started, you gave me the courtesy of letting me know what was going to happen, albeit not very much time before the rest of the city knew, and we had kept an open dialogue. I've called you multiple times. I've sent you multiple emails. You know, I told you from day one, this was as far as I was concerned, this was about the facts. This was about the numbers. This is about the stuff that's right out there. And I've maintained that. I think the entire union has maintained that approach to keep this professional and show the taxpayers the folks that we really are. I sent you, an email asking what concessions do you want from the fire department. You know, I told you that at the end of the day, you know, I get you control the purse strings in the city, and we have to work with what you give us. But we got to find a way to do it without sending 15 guys home. So I'd like to at least offer now, because I haven't been able to talk to you, you know, moving forward, we need to reopen these discussions because we need to be a part of the solution. We don't want to add to the problem. We want to work with the city to be a part of the solution to get where we need to be. I got to bring it up because you brought it up last week, but this whole thing with the pension padding came out in a major media release. I'm going to first say that, you know, I commend you for getting your ducks in a row on your side of things and getting, you need to be on the same page with the administration of the fire department. But you also have to remember that the backs that this budget is being balanced upon is not what works over in the administrative wing of the department. These are the guys and gals on the rigs that are going out and doing the ambulance calls, and that they're going to the fires, that they're risking their lives. Yeah, maybe don't see it every day in the paper, but they're the ones that are going into the basements full of gas when the college kids break the gas service off in the basement. You know, they're the ones that are going out when the taxpayers of the city of Oswego are at their worst moments. They're the ones that are there for them, that are making a difference. So I got to say, the timing of all of this I found quite strange. You've been in office for 6 months. The fire chief's been there the entire time. To wait until a week after we release this budget, when there's only 10 working days, to talk about the fact that we're getting on the same page with the administration of the department was troubling. It seemed to strike me as something to draw the attention away from the numbers that were right in front of us on the budget. So I hope moving forward we can focus on what the issues are, and right now in front of us in this budget, it's the numbers. You know, we offered solutions. We came to the table with 10 business days to do the math. We sat down and said, listen, had you told us about this a while ago, there's federal funding. There's SAFER grants out there that are meant by the federal government for exactly these problems that we're faced with right here. And had we been given the time, we would have procured one of these grants. Had we given the time, the firefighters union, as we always have in the city, would have come to the table and said, here, what can we find for solutions? If you remember our last contract, a 5-year contract, we took 4% over 5 years, and we made concession after concession to help the department run more efficiently. Because we realize at the end of the day that if the department can run more efficiently, that we can run safely with a more efficient department. Had we been given the opportunity to do this, then we would have. You know, the Achilles heel of the fire service is that maybe you don't really appreciate what you have until you need them. I've been in points in my life where I've been on the other end, where you had to call for help. And I'll tell you, the appreciation that you get when you're the person that's actually sitting there is a far cry different than what you talk about when you sit up and talk about what public safety means to their taxpayers. So I absolutely understand this council and you as a mayor and your objectives to control costs in the city. I think it should be, you know, to coin the Randy Bateman phrase, everyone needs to sharpen their pencils across the board so we can make sure that we make it affordable to live in this town and bring about the positive change, which I think you guys are taking very good direction at. But if we're going to do this, then there needs to be a systematic way. If I come to contract negotiations and say, hey, Mayor, I'd like a raise, if I bring in the two fire departments in the state that make the most money and say, I think I should make that, I'm pretty sure I'm getting laughed out of the room, right? If we're going to do comparisons, then we can't just pick, you know, the lowest common denominator of firefighters that exist out there in the state. I'll say this, your Cortland comparison, you might be right. We might already be Cortland with an ambulance service. I mean, if you do the math, it's not that far off. We're doing twice the calls a year, so you're getting, for your money, you know, you're getting, you know, potentially extra firefighting force when you need to. The bottom line is, if you're going to make this decision as a group, as a collective group, then there should be a fact-finding phase. There should be a discussion phase. We should explore all the options. We should make sure that we do everything we can to not send 15 guys home. These 15 guys walked in that door when they got hired. They probably shook your hand, some of them, you know, and they made a commitment to you. They made a commitment to you, you know, that for their careers here, that they will put their lives on the line when asked, that they will represent that fire department the way it should be represented, that they will give compassion and caring, you know, patient care to the people of the city. And to so quickly and so easily break that promise, I find very troubling. You know, these guys got families. You know, look what we just did at the nuclear plants. Cuomo came in to save the community. And here we're gonna do something similar, where we're gonna take 15 people. Some of these guys, you know, they bought houses in the city. They got expecting babies. And we're going to do that same thing here as a council? Shouldn't the effort be to work together to find a way not to send people home? Listen, I'm never going to stand up here and agree with you that there's too many firefighters in Oswego, because I can't, because I do the job every day along with these guys. And when we get out there and we realize we just don't have enough, but we get that we have to do it anyway, because that's in our nature. That's what we do as firefighters. But I don't blame you for shopping around and trying to improve that. But if you're going to shop around, we need to find more responsible ways to do it. We can't put it on the backs of 15 guys and merely say, it's time for you to go home. I don't know if you counselors who ultimately have the power right now understand the gravity of the decisions that are in front of you. That fire 3 weeks ago, those same 3 positions that will no longer exist, those 3 positions were the 3 positions that saved a father and his 2 children in Councilor McLaughlin's ward. Those 3 positions aren't there next week? Does that same rescue get made? Do you feel that you've been given enough information to make sure that when you make a decision on this budget, and if you do decide to lay off 15 firefighters, can you be sure beyond a reasonable doubt that the taxpayers are going to have the protection they need? Listen, I believe in government to the fullest extent, and I believe that your responsibility is to the members of this community. It's to the people that live here. It's to the people that, they are scraping by, and you have to do what you have to do to control taxes. But at the same time, your commitment is to make sure that you're making the right decisions. And I got to tell you, with the gravity of the decision before you, there is no way, there's just no fathomable way that in 10 business days you can have gathered enough information to be sure that you're making the decision. In this entire campaign, I said from day one, I'm not going to make this about gloom and doom. I'm not going to go out there and try and scare the public, because I think that's a tactic that can get used. And I think we should make it about the numbers and make it about, what the responsible decisions to make are. But I'm going to tell you tonight that if you make a decision to cut these 16 firefighters, you're going to need to be able to live with the results. And I don't know if it happens tomorrow or next week or next year, but there are going to be negative consequences to these cuts. This is not Portland. You have nuclear plants right there. You got the river right there. Talk to some of the folks that live with 6 inches between their houses. If that fire starts, is it going to take one house, 2 houses, 3 houses, or the entire block? So all I ask, and I know you guys have had a lot thrown at you in the first 6 months in office, I ask that you make sure you take the time, and before you vote to eliminate these positions, you ask yourselves, right down to its core, are you doing what's right for the taxpayers? I can commit to you that if we can work together and find a way, I am all about being part of the solution. I want to find a way to provide public safety to the city and not send these 15 firefighters home. So I ask you, from the bottom of my heart, to take a good look at this. This is not how the process should be. Thank you for your time, and I hope you'll take that into consideration.
Next speaker is Sam Frazina.
Good evening. I want to thank everyone for allowing me a few minutes to talk here. I'm actually not a Oswego resident. I'm the president of the New York State Professional Firefighters Association. We represent 18,000 firefighters in 107 municipalities from Buffalo to New York City. So as you can imagine, with the way the economy is going, we've been, and I personally have been in quite a few of these meetings. Some meetings have worked well, some meetings haven't. Sometimes there's two roads to go down here. The bad road is when people don't communicate. I've seen cuts made. Most recently, we lost the entire eight-person paid department in Port Chester, New York, which was a combination department. I've seen good outcomes. Again, the bad ones is when happen when people don't communicate. I'm here to let you know that I've seen the good, the bad, and I'm urging everyone here to reopen the lines of communication with the union and work to know the facts before you make the decisions. Cutting firefighters should be a last resort when there's nothing left to do. I feel there still are options on the table. We've worked with locals across the state. I can give you a list of locals that I personally worked with Senator Schumer and Gillibrand and local politicians to make sure that these departments have safer funding, funding to purchase apparatus, funding for training, federal money that's available. That federal money now doesn't have to be matched. The federal SAFER grant is 2 years funding, no matching money, 2 years. The only rule is you have to maintain the manpower. So it costs the city nothing. It saves on overtime, and more importantly than that, it saves on public safety. So again, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on other people that want to speak, but as a state representative, I can tell you I also represent the International Association of Firefighters. I am more than willing to come to the table with the local and to sit down and take a look at every single option available to all of you to make sure that you do everything you possibly can to keep this community safe before you jump to the 10th or 11th option of getting rid of firefighters. I've seen bad outcomes We're hoping that it doesn't have to go that way. All I'm saying is, please, do your homework, communicate, and make every possible effort before you get to this spot. And again, Oswego's president has my number. I'm more than willing and able to sit down. I think we can find a solution, and we'd like to go in that direction. So, thank you.
Hi. Can I pull this thing down or something? I'm Kathleen Harris, Ward 1 and 90 West 8th Street. And my counselor is Caitlin Reynolds. Now, the reason I'm here tonight is because I care about Oswego. I'm from Connecticut originally. And I care about all the people here. I care about their livelihood and their protection and their chance to lead a happy life. Now, Mr. Mayor, I want you to recall this nosedive that Tom Gillen took when he opened his mouth and said, I think we better shut down the firehouses to save some bucks. Well, it wasn't shut down, but he had us living with a threat for a while. And his opinion, his confidence that we had in him took a nosedive. And you, right now, are following in his footsteps. You are telling that you want to lay off and get rid of about 13 of our protectors, our people who want to live here themselves and have a happy, safe life for their families and for their friends and for the city. Now, if you lay off just one of these men and cause discomfort to their family, you will also take a nosedive, even worse than what Tom Gillen got. And I doubt very much if they'll even allow you to finish out your term as mayor, because you're going to have a miserable time of it. So if I were you, for your own sake, the smartest thing you should do, if you have to choose between $1 million and the lives and livelihood of all these people here, I would most certainly prefer the lives of the people and the protection of the city and the peace of mind for all of us. So you just remember that. Any move you make on your part, any vote you make to hurt any of these people, you're hurting yourself just as much. Because you're just one of the people here too. And you love the city. And you want a good life for your family, just like every one of these people do. Now, there isn't much more I can say except to tell you to watch your step, Mr. Mayor, if you want to have a good reign. And I'm talking as a grandmother, rather. Remember, you're only 26 years old, and you have got a lot to learn. In about 20 years, you'll probably be a heck of a lot better mayor than you are now. But you had better have a good, well, you know what I mean, behind you in order to get elected again. Bye now and good luck, and make the right vote. Do not cause any one of these men to lose their job. Okay? Love you. Bye now.
That is the last person signed up for the public hearing. Would anyone else like to speak on the public hearing, the 2017 budget? Sue?
Hi, I'm Sue Matthews. I don't live in the city, but I've had fire in my house. And I think you guys are partially a victim of one of your own laws. I really liked listening to what the head of the union had to say about grants and programs and other options that are available. When you passed your new 2% cap law, you said that if the mayor's budget goes over 2%, then the budget has to go up for a vote at the public in November, which necessitates that you have your budget done now in time for the election in November. You no longer have until January. So it puts you in the dark. You really don't know what monies are available, what grants are available, what things are coming up the following year that may help to keep some of the necessities of the community. Unfortunately, we only get grants for what the state offers and what the federal government offers. And sometimes what they offer isn't really the things that we need. So you're kind of working in the dark on this budget, but I would really seriously consider to try to find some middle ground. A cut of 13 sounds like a big drastic cut to me. And if there are programs and grants and help available that we haven't been aware of or that are upcoming, I think that we need to take those things into consideration and try to find some middle ground and look for some cuts in some other places in the meantime. Some of the laws you've passed are micromanaging to the point that we just can't afford to enforce them properly. And I think there's other areas that we could look at that we could cut quite drastically. But I think we need to find some middle ground on this fire issue. Thank you.
Would anyone else like to speak during the public hearing on the budget? Seeing none, I'll take a motion to adjourn. Councilor Walker, Councilor Van Buren. Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Reynolds. Counselor McLaughlin.
Yes.
Counselor Emmons.
Yes.
Counselor Walker. Counselor Gozick.
Yes.
Counselor Van Buren.
Yes.
Counselor Cordino.
Yes.
The resolution passes 7-0.
That will close the public hearing. I'll now open the public session where we have 2 speakers signed up to speak. Again, please state your name and address when you step to the podium and limit your comments, please, to 5 minutes. First person signed up is Gary Richardson.
Mr. Mayor, councilors, my name is Gary Richardson. I live at 182 East Seneca Street. I'm a veteran of 30 years, over 30 years, of the Oswego Fire Department. I'm now retired. If you think that you can take care of this city with this number less, when they can't hardly handle it now, you're mistaken. I've got a lot of experience, a very lot of experience in fighting fires and answering emergency ambulance calls. You got to remember, fire spreads fast. In fact, it doubles in size every 15 seconds. Now, response time is probably 3 to 5 minutes in every section of the city. What do you think that leaves you when you get there? On an ambulance call, you get a heart call. Someone has stopped breathing. you've got 4 to 6 minutes to get them going again. Intubated, oxygen, drugs. It's a very difficult job. And it can't be done by less people. It needs to be done by more people. When I was on the department, which was quite a few years ago, we had 18 people on each group. And as the years passed, they whittled it, and they whittled it, and they whittled it, and it doesn't make things any better. Now, in a few weeks, you got 8,000 to 10,000 more people moving into the city of Oswego, the college. And for a weekend, we got probably another 8,000 or 10,000 people coming into the city of Oswego for the races, for Classic Weekend. Now, we've got the October race. How many thousands of people will be coming into town? And you think you're going to be able to run it with 2 ambulances? Come on now. Think about it. Really think about it. And have these guys do what they have to do every single day. There are other things that the fire department handles. The river. It's not an easy job. And one day, I remember in the past, we pulled 31, that's 31 people out of the river during fishing season. Sure, the numbers aren't quite as big as they were, but they're still here. And I'll tell you, it doesn't make it easy. You're running around in circles sometimes, and it doesn't help. You also have laws for safety for firefighters, OSHA, NFPA. Sit down sometime and read these laws about how many people can go into a fire and how many people have to back them up. If there's nobody there to back them up, they can't go in. That's a law. That is the law. National, state, and local. Now, I don't know how to settle this, but there's got to be a way. Let the people, the voters of the city of Oswego, vote on what they want. Yes, you represent them, but you don't represent them all. Thank you.
Next speaker signed up is Ellen Clark.
Hi, I'm Ellen Clark, here as the chair of the Promotion and Tourism Advisory Board. I just wanted to fill in a few missing pieces on the Fall Fishing Fest that you'll be voting on tonight. The date, Saturday, September 10th, is indeed available at Veterans Park. The time is 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And I wanted to add that I am in communication with both the fire department and the Coast Guard to do an exhibition at the event, along with other fishing and water safety activities that I mentioned last week.
This is the last person signed up. Would anyone else like to talk during the public session? Seeing none, I will adjourn the public session and call the regular meeting to order. Will you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk, please call the roll.
His Honor the Mayor.
Here.
Counselor Reynolds.
Here.
Counselor McLaughlin.
Here.
Counselor Emmons.
Here.
Counselor Walker. Counselor Gozick.
Here.
Counselor Van Buren.
Here.
Counselor Cordino.
Here.
All are present, Your Honor.
Thank you. Under the mayor's report, I just have a quick piece of good news. The city was awarded 2 New York State water grants for our sewer separation Phase 2 project. That's the consent decree you hear so much about, the consent decree that's responsible for your high water and sewer bills. We were awarded for Project 06, which was $1,375,000 out of the total cost of $5.5 million. We were also awarded for Project 07 for $2,227,750 out of the total project cost of $8,911,000. If you remember back, this was the grant that the city was previously deemed ineligible to even apply for. I took office. We laid out a strategy with the help of the Common Council. A quick call I placed to Senator Schumer's office, asking him why we weren't eligible to apply. He said he'd look into it, called us back, said, go ahead and apply. So we did, and here we are, and we won. So that's good news, and yes, that can help prevent future water and sewer fee increases. That's all under the mayor's report. Do the councilors have anything they'd like to add? Seeing none, clerk, please call Resolution 296.
To approve the minutes from the Common Council meeting held August 8th, 2016.
Councilor McLaughlin, Councilor Van Buren. Any comments? Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Van Buren.
Yes.
Counselor Cordino.
Yes.
Counselor Reynolds.
Yes.
Counselor McLaughlin.
Yes.
Counselor Emmons.
Yes.
Counselor Walker. Counselor Gozick.
Yes.
The resolution passes 7-0.
Clerk, please call Resolution 297.
To approve the use of Veterans Park for a fall fishing event to be held September 10th, 2016.
Councilor Reynolds, Councilor Corradino. Any comments? Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Van Buren.
Yes.
Counselor Cordino.
Yes.
Counselor Reynolds.
Yes.
Counselor McLaughlin.
Yes.
Counselor Emmons.
Yes.
Counselor Walker. Counselor Gozick.
Abstain.
The resolution passes 6-0-1.
Clerk, please call Resolution 298.
To approve repairs to and decorating of Franklin Square Park during the Christmas season.
Councilor Reynolds, Councilor Gozick. Any comments? Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Van Buren.
Yes.
Counselor Cordino.
Yes.
Counselor Reynolds.
Yes.
Counselor McLaughlin.
Yes.
Counselor Emmons.
Yes.
Counselor Walker. Counselor Gozick.
Yes.
The resolution passes 7-0.
Clerk, please call Resolution 299.
To authorize the mayor to sign amendment number 1 with GHD Consulting Engineers, LLC for the East Side Wastewater Treatment Plant Equipment Replacement Project.
Councilor McLaughlin, Councilor Van Buren. Any comments? Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Van Buren.
Yes.
Counselor Cordino.
Yes.
Counselor Reynolds.
Yes.
Counselor McLaughlin.
Yes.
Counselor Emmons.
Yes.
Counselor Walker. Counselor Gozick.
Yes.
The resolution passes 7-0.
Clerk, please call Resolution 300.
To authorize the mayor to execute a renewal agreement with Auctions International.
Councilor Walker, Councilor McLaughlin. Any comments? Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Van Buren.
Yes.
Counselor Cordino.
Yes.
Counselor Reynolds.
Yes.
Counselor McLaughlin.
Yes.
Counselor Emmons.
Yes.
Counselor Walker. Counselor Gozick.
Yes.
The resolution passes 7-0.
Clerk, please call Resolution 301.
To approve the attendance at the NICOM Fall Training School to be held September 12th through the 15th, 2016 in Saratoga Springs, New York at the request of Kevin Caracoli, City Attorney.
Councilor Van Buren, Councilor Emmons. Any comments? Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Van Buren.
Yes.
Counselor Cordino.
Yes.
Counselor Reynolds.
Yes.
Counselor McLaughlin.
Last.
Counselor Emmons.
Yes.
Counselor Walker. Counselor Gozick.
Yes.
The resolution passes 7-0.
Clerk, please call Resolution 302.
to approve proposed local law number 4 of the year 2016, a local law authorizing a property tax levy in excess of the limit established in General Municipal Law Section 3C.
Counselor Walker, Counselor Van Buren. Any comments? Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Van Buren.
Yes.
Counselor Cordino.
Yes.
Counselor Reynolds.
Yes.
Counselor McLaughlin.
Yes.
Counselor Emmons.
Yes.
Counselor Walker. Counselor Gozick.
Yes.
The resolution passes 7-0.
Clerk, please call Resolution 303.
To approve proposed 2017 city operating budget tax warrant.
Counselor Gozick, Counselor Cordino. Any comments? Counselor Walker? Second? Second. Counselor Emmons. Clerk, please call the roll to amend.
Counselor Van Buren.
Yes to amend.
Counselor Cordino.
Yes to amend.
Counselor Reynolds.
Yes to amend.
Counselor McLaughlin.
Yes to amend.
Counselor Emmons.
Yes to amend.
Counselor Walker. Counselor Gozick.
Yes to amend.
The resolution passes 7-0.
Clerk, please call Resolution 304.
Motion to amend resolution number 303 regarding planning personal services.
Counselor Walker, Counselor Emmons. Any comments? Counselor Emmons.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I will be voting for this amendment this evening. I think the councilors have taken a close look at this particular department. We've had several conversations about it. I know this has been a topic of some time in terms of the effectiveness of overall the planning and zoning department. I would generally probably assess that there is some disagreement still amongst the council over this, but I do think there is some agreement over the fact that over the past year or so, there has been some deficiencies within this department related to zoning and related to permit procurement, to permit processing, the holding up of developers that are looking to be in our city and develop within our city. And I think that combination and a general feeling that that office really needed to focus more in on the zoning side of things has led us to this place of looking to defund this particular department. I've said this multiple times to the councilors. I've said this right from the very beginning. I always thought this was a formula for disaster. I think Mary Gillen actually put this in place without thinking it fully through. To have a planning office and to have a community development office basically doing some of the very similar functions was a recipe for conflict ultimately and has led us down this road. We have a very competent community development office. They have shown that. That is the place where I believe city planning should fall into, and that we also need a very strong zoning code. We need to reformulate. We need to rethink in this current formulation, if you will, of this department does not meet the city's needs as we look forward.
Counselor, any other comments? Counselor Gozick.
Yeah, I echo Councilor Emmons' sentiments. First and foremost, I think our plan to consolidate will help to cover the duties that were pretty much covered underneath the Planning and Zoning Department. I think it's important for the public to recognize that the plan we have in place to consolidate will allow the planning aspect of the department to go over to community development, the assistant community development director, be able to take that on. And additionally, with the zoning, we're going to see that consolidated into the engineering department. And I think that with this, we're saving the taxpayers a lot of money, and also the problems that I've seen firsthand with the permitting process and with development being held up in the 5th Ward have led me to lend my support to this amendment as well.
Thank you, Counselor. Any other comments? Counselor Van Buren.
I've made my stance clear on this department from the beginning. I disagree with some of my fellow counselors on this. I believe the direction of the office does need changing. During its inception, the office was filling some gaps that weren't being done at the time. I think the success of the city's current development, the grants that we're getting, this office can help greatly with that. So I will not be supporting this amendment.
Any other comments? Seeing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Van Buren.
No.
Counselor Cordino.
Yes.
Counselor Reynolds.
No.
Counselor McLaughlin.
Yes.
Counselor Emmons.
Yes.
Counselor Walker. Counselor Gozick.
Yes.
The resolution passes 5-2.
Clerk, please call Resolution 305.
Motion to amend Resolution Number 303 regarding municipal buildings, materials, and supplies.
Counselor McLaughlin, Counselor Van Buren. Any comments? Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Van Buren.
Yes.
Counselor Cordino.
Yes.
Counselor Reynolds.
Yes.
Counselor McLaughlin.
Yes.
Counselor Emmons.
Yes.
Counselor Walker. Counselor Gozick.
Yes.
The resolution passes 7-0.
Clerk, please call Resolution 306.
Motion to amend Resolution Number 303 regarding payments in lieu of taxes.
Counselor Van Buren, Counselor Emmons. Any comments? Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Van Buren.
Yes.
Counselor Cordino.
Yes.
Counselor Reynolds.
Yes.
Counselor McLaughlin.
Yes.
Counselor Emmons.
Yes.
Counselor Walker. Counselor Gozick.
Yes.
The resolution passes 7-0.
Clerk, please call Resolution 307.
Motion to amend Resolution Number 303 regarding DPW garage equipment.
Counselor McLaughlin, Counselor Walker. Any comments? Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Van Buren.
Yes.
Counselor Cordino.
Yes.
Counselor Reynolds.
Yes.
Counselor McLaughlin.
Yes.
Counselor Emmons.
Yes.
Counselor Walker. Counselor Gozick.
Yes.
The resolution passes 7-0.
Clerk, please call Resolution 308.
Motion to amend Resolution Number 303 regarding the DPW garage materials and supplies.
Counselor McLaughlin, Counselor Van Buren. Any comments? Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Van Buren.
Yes.
Counselor Cordino. Counselor Reynolds.
Yes.
Counselor McLaughlin.
Yes.
Counselor Emmons.
Yes.
Counselor Walker. Counselor Gozick.
Yes.
The resolution passes 7-0.
Clerk, please call Resolution 309.
Motion to amend Resolution Number 303 regarding parks, materials, and supplies.
Counselor McLaughlin, Counselor Emmons. Any comments? Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Van Buren.
Yes.
Counselor Cordino.
Yes.
Counselor Reynolds.
Yes.
Counselor McLaughlin.
Yes.
Counselor Emmons.
Yes.
Counselor Walker. Counselor Gozick.
Yes.
The resolution passes 7-0.
Clerk, please call Resolution 310.
Motion to amend Resolution Number 303 regarding marinas and docks, materials, and supplies.
Counselor McLaughlin, Counselor Corradino. Any comments? Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Van Buren.
Yes.
Counselor Cordino.
Yes.
Counselor Reynolds.
Yes.
Counselor McLaughlin.
Yes.
Counselor Emmons.
Yes.
Counselor Walker. Counselor Gozick. The resolution passes 7-0.
Clerk, please call Resolution 311.
Motion to amend Resolution Number 303 regarding skating rinks, materials, and supplies.
Counselor McLaughlin, Counselor Van Buren. Any comments? Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Van Buren.
Yes.
Counselor Cordino. Counselor Reynolds.
Yes.
Counselor McLaughlin.
Yes.
Counselor Emmons.
Yes.
Counselor Walker. Counselor Gozick.
Yes.
The resolution passes 7-0.
Clerk, please call Resolution 312.
Motion to amend Resolution Number 303 regarding street cleaning equipment.
Counselor McLaughlin, Counselor Emmons. Any comments? Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Van Buren.
Yes.
Counselor Cordino.
Yes.
Counselor Reynolds.
Yes.
Counselor McLaughlin.
Yes.
Counselor Emmons.
Yes.
Counselor Walker. Counselor Gozick.
Yes.
The resolution passes 7-0.
Clerk, please call Resolution 313.
Motion to amend Resolution Number 303 regarding street cleaning materials and supplies.
Counselor McLaughlin, Counselor Walker. Any comments? Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Van Buren.
Yes.
Counselor Cordino.
Yes.
Counselor Reynolds.
Yes.
Counselor McLaughlin.
Yes.
Counselor Emmons.
Yes.
Counselor Walker. Counselor Gozick.
Yes.
The resolution passes 7-0.
Clerk, please call Resolution 314.
Motion to amend Resolution Number 303 regarding street cleaning contracted services.
Counselor McLaughlin, Counselor Emmons. Any comments? Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Van Buren.
Yes.
Counselor Cordino.
Yes.
Counselor Reynolds.
Yes.
Counselor McLaughlin.
Yes.
Counselor Emmons.
Yes.
Counselor Walker. Counselor Gozick.
Yes.
The resolution passes 7-0.
Clerk, please call Resolution 316. 350.
Motion to amend Resolution Number 303 regarding shade trees and parks, materials, and supplies.
Counselor McLaughlin, Counselor Van Buren. Any comments? Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Van Buren.
Yes.
Counselor Cordino.
Yes.
Counselor Reynolds.
Yes.
Counselor McLaughlin.
Yes.
Counselor Emmons.
Yes.
Counselor Walker. Counselor Gozick.
Yes.
The resolution passes 7-0.
Clerk, please call Resolution 316.
Motion to amend Resolution Number 303 regarding shade trees and parks, contracted services.
Counselor McLaughlin, Counselor Van Buren. Any comments? Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Van Buren.
Yes.
Counselor Cordino.
Yes.
Counselor Reynolds.
Yes.
Counselor McLaughlin.
Yes.
Counselor Emmons.
Yes.
Counselor Walker. Counselor Gozick.
Yes.
The resolution passes 7-0.
Resolution 317, 318, 319 have been withdrawn. Clerk, please call Resolution 320.
To waive the rules of the Common Council to present Resolution Number 321 and 321A from the floor without committee consideration.
Counselor Van Buren, Counselor Emmons. Any comments? Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Van Buren.
Yes.
Counselor Cordino.
Yes.
Counselor Reynolds.
Yes.
Counselor McLaughlin.
Yes.
Counselor Emmons.
Yes.
Counselor Walker. Counselor Gozick.
Yes.
The resolution passes 7-0.
We will go to 321A after we do 303. Clerk, please call Resolution 303 as amended. 321, sorry.
Motion to amend Resolution Number 303 regarding appropriated fund balance.
Counselor Walker, Counselor Van Buren. Any comments? Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Van Buren.
Yes.
Counselor Cordino.
Yes.
Counselor Reynolds.
Yes.
Counselor McLaughlin.
Yes.
Counselor Emmons.
Yes.
Counselor Walker. Counselor Gozick.
Yes.
The resolution passes 7-0.
Now we will go back to Resolution 303, the 2017 operating budget as amended. Clerk, please read Resolution 303.
Right here. To approve the proposed 2017 city operating budget as amended.
Counselor Cordino, Counselor Emmons. When I sat down to do the budget, obviously we all knew we were facing a $1 million deficit from the sale to the Metropolitan Water Board of our water tunnel out into Lake Ontario. That annual payment of $1 million expired back in May. So the 2017 budget is the first budget without that $1 million right off the top. In addition to that deficit, you must add in the rising costs of health care and employee benefits. So the deficit was actually much more than that. On top of that, we have the 5% tax cap, which means if the mayor or common council propose anything more than 5% tax increase, that has to go to a public referendum on the ballot for the people to decide in November. On top of that, you have to understand the city taxpayers have had their taxes raised almost 60% in the last 4 years. Of our operating budget, roughly 68% is personnel and 22% is contractual. And just doing simple arithmetic shows or can explain why layoffs are imminent. In this budget, there are some positive things in this budget, one being a code enforcement position to invest directly in our neighborhoods. Obviously, we've made a lot of progress in our neighborhoods, holding landlords accountable, making sure properties are in compliance, complementing the work of the Oswego Renaissance Association, and the investment in our code office is nothing short of than an investment in our neighborhoods. Additionally, we invested in the DPW, which in my opinion is another investment simply in our neighborhoods. Actually, Union President Gerasi related to the investment earlier. I'll talk a little more about this later. But the DPW has been neglected for years, perhaps decades. And finally, I'm determined to stop kicking the can down the road, give the department the tools they need, give the department the tools to provide adequate neighborhood services like they should, and make our neighborhoods and our city a better place. Also, we solved the continuous argument of city funding and sponsoring events. The money that was previously allocated to the Chamber of Commerce to dish out as they wish to administer events will come to an end. Later this year, I'll be appointing an events committee that will report through the Community Development Office. That funding will be allocated in the Community Development's budget, and that events committee, which will be chaired by my Community Development Director, Justin Rudgick, will organize and put together city events. Also, I proposed no increase in the water and sewer fees, and that was before we found out about being awarded the New York State water grants. So your water and sewer fee will hold steady for the next year. Next, I have to applaud the Common Council. They took this budget, digested this budget. We communicated daily, weekends included. And I have to applaud Councilor McLaughlin, who offered up about 14 amendments on his own to help mitigate against the tax increase. And obviously, I have to applaud Councilor Walker, Councilor Cordino, the President and Vice President, for their leadership through the whole process. That brings us to some of the proposed cuts. One cut was from the police department, the elimination of a lieutenant's position valued at $106,000. To come up with that elimination, I took the city traffic department, which now currently reports to the police department, moved that to, that will now report to the DPW. That allowed us to open up one of the lieutenant's positions that we will choose to eliminate. You just witnessed before your own eyes the elimination of the zoning and planning department, which will save some money and certainly affect the proposed tax increase. So the idea that we're only cutting from one department is false. That brings us to the proposal I laid out to the Oswego Fire Department. And first, I'll say that this packet is aligned with, as a packet I've been compiling since March. So the budget process was by no means a very short window. It started literally when I took office. And the counselors can tell you I started coming with them with budget ideas long before 10 working days. To compare, and where it was obvious we needed to cut serious spending to make up the deficit and prevent a tax increase. So we immediately began comparing our departments, all city departments, against other municipalities comparable to the city of Oswego. And what we found simply was that we seem to have more firefighters than other municipalities comparable to the city. For example, the city of Cortland, 19,000 people, 33 firefighters. City of Plattsburgh, 20,000 people, 36 firefighters. City of Geneva, 13,000, 21 firefighters. Lackawanna, this is near Buffalo, they have our population to a T at 18,000, 46 firefighters. So I sat down with the chief, and I proposed that we simply will go from 14 firefighters per shift to 10 firefighters per shift, which, by the way, we run at 10 firefighters per shift now. When 4 firefighters do not show up to work, they do not call in overtime until there's 10 or less, and then they call in overtime. So they are responding to incidents and events all over the city at 10 firefighters on shift. So it can be done. The chief came up with what I thought was a creative and viable proposal that we proposed to the union that to this day has gone unanswered. And the proposal was simply to take 14 on shift, reduce it to 10, propose to eliminate 16 positions, and those 16 firefighters eliminated would have the opportunity to stay with the city for part-time work on an on-call basis, paid at straight time. This would eliminate virtually all department overtime, which I still allocated about $35,000 in the case of a full-blown emergency. You can call in whoever you want. This is done in other municipalities around the state. And when I sat down with the chief and told him the box the city was in, he got to work, got creative, and propose this alternative. I also took the proposed budget was $240,000 for overtime, which I reduced to $220,000. I took 35, as I said, put it in the overtime account, and made $185,000 available to the part-time firefighters to call in. This would save the city money not just off the top of the elimination of 16 positions, but would save us money when we have to call in for overtime, which has been a problem the city's had as far back as any of us can remember. Because when you call in firefighters on overtime, the rates are based on seniority. This would pay them at a straight time rate, ultimately save the city money for years and years to come. And that's when the union got involved. And there was conversation back and forth with the union. Like I said, still, I don't know where they stand on the part-time option. I know if I was one of the 16 firefighters, I know what I would be telling my union president, and that would be to take the administration up on their offer. But to this point, the union's argument first and foremost, which is interesting, was, and we heard it tonight, is we can't do the job. We can't be a 43-person department. And that held up for a few days. And then the union came to me and they said, well, maybe we can be a 43-person department, but maybe in 2020. So, Mayor, why don't you lay out a plan that says over the next few years we will get to the 43-person department that you think we should have, and it'll happen in 2020. To which I thought, well, is the argument that we can't do it with 43, or is it that we just don't want to do it with 43 now? Kind of contradicts itself when you say we can't do it, but wait a minute, we can do it. We can just do it 4 years from now. That was confusing to me. Currently, we have 59 people in our fire department, active firefighters, and you can use that to compare to the municipalities I outlined earlier. So then, when we compare municipalities, we heard this argument again tonight. You can say, well, the city of Cortland has 33, but they do not have an ambulance service. Which is interesting in and of itself. Because if you just look at the call breakdown for a week in the fire department, and if you want to make the argument somehow that our staffing has to be comparable or has to be proportional to the services we provide, most notably the ambulance service, you can look at the type of incidents through a week, and you can see emergency medical services. This is for the week of August 1st through August 7th. 61 EMS calls, 2 fire/unauthorized burning or controlled burning, 3 miscellaneous detector activations, 4 good intention calls or canceled en route, and 1 motor vehicle accident. Just so we get a trend, and we don't pick one specific week. July 25th to July 31st, 80 EMS calls, 5 unauthorized burning, controlled burning, or fires, 3 miscellaneous detector activations, 2 good intent calls, canceled en route. We'll do one more just to be sure. July 18th to July 24th, 59 EMS calls, fire/authorized burning, 5. Miscellaneous activations, 2. Motor vehicle, 1. Gas/power lines down, 3. Watercraft rescue, 1. Good intent calls, 1. So to throw up the ambulance service and say that our manning is because of the ambulance service is not a wise thing to do for the union, because they point to almost recommending the city to not run a city ambulance service. Because if we don't run a city ambulance service, if you look at the argument on the flip side, you could almost eliminate more positions. My obligation is to provide safety to the citizens of the city of Oswego, so I would like to keep the ambulance service. But when you have your union president making that argument over and over again, that makes it difficult to keep the ambulance service. So I'll do my best to, and I'm sure the chief will do his best, and we'll work together to make sure that we can maintain all services, fire protection, water rescue, and a full ambulance service with 10 guys on shift. The other argument I heard was, well, we understand the city is in a box, but why are they cutting from the Oswego Fire Department? Again, not true. You saw tonight we eliminated a whole department, zoning and planning. We cut from the police department. And when all else fails, they brought up the investment we're making to the DPW. And the union president's right. I did, in fact, take $1.2 million from the reserve. And the funding he listed and the purchases he listed with the DPW is exactly what I'm using the $1.2 million for. And I'm comfortable taking $1.2 million out of the reserve because they are one-time purchases for a department that's been neglected for decades. Okay? So it makes sense to take money from the reserve and buy a new plow and buy a pickup truck because that's a one-time expense. Once you buy the plow, that plow's there. It's not a year-to-year expense like a salary. That doesn't make sense. It does not make sense to take money from the reserve to pay a salary. That's simply a stopgap. You're going to have the same problem you'll have next year, and you'll be out $1 million. So the problem will actually be worse. So we'll clear that up. The money I took from the reserve was to invest in the DPW, and I think that's the right thing to do. That being said, we're in a contract year. We'll be sitting down with the union to negotiate contracts in the future, in the very near future. So the union could have came to me and said anything. They could have presented to me anything. Chief McRobey actually took some time to develop an alternative or to develop a proposal because when I went to the chief, it was simple. We were eliminating 16 positions. He came back to say, well, if you have to do that, fine, but why don't we offer the guys this? The union didn't even get that far. They said, well, we'll do anything, but they couldn't specify what. Then about a week went by and they came in and they said, we figured it out. We will apply for 2 grants. We'll find out about the grants in the spring, if we are awarded them or not. And that'll carry us for 2 years. Again, in my opinion, that's simply a stopgap. Great, you got the grant, but the problem still exists, and that's in a fire department, size of a fire department in a city that financially isn't paying its own bills. And that's what they came up with. So then, when all else fails, we heard this argument tonight, when all else fails, the council didn't have enough time. It can't possibly be a good budget, a thorough budget, because the council did not have enough time. And let's just criticize the whole department. If we have to criticize other departments, let's do it. And let's do whatever it takes and just say the council didn't have enough time. So, councilors, I'll thank you again for the time. I know you put in this budget. We had meetings on Saturdays. I met with individual councilors on Saturdays, on Sundays, on Monday nights, on Tuesday nights, Thursday nights. I know you put a lot of time into this, and I appreciate the effort. And then I really wasn't prepared to talk about it, but the union president brought up the overtime discussion that I think he doesn't think it's relevant to the budget. I think it's very relevant to the budget. So I'll talk about that for a moment. And perhaps the thing that agitates me the most or irritates me the most is the idea that we uncovered a system that was deliberately funneling money to the senior members of the department. I don't think the chief disputes that. I don't think the union president disputes that. I don't think they can dispute that. And really, if nothing else, when you deliberately funnel money to a senior member of the department who per hour on overtime earns $45 an hour, you purposely skip the junior firefighters and encourage them to sign off on a do not call list, which is against the city's collective bargaining agreement that the city and the union supposedly had together. And the junior firefighter earns $29 an hour on overtime. That is disrespectful to the mayor, it's disrespectful to the council, and it's disrespectful to the city of Oswego taxpayers. I watch Councilor Cordino, Councilor Emmons week in and week out. They'll sit here and debate for an hour a $125 road closure fee because they don't think the city should be giving away free road closures. And to know that that's going on and they spend hours of their time and hours in research doing that, to where they sat down for hours and had to hash out a firm policy, and to know that across the river a system and scheme like this is going on is extremely disheartening. To prove the point, we didn't have to look very far, unfortunately. I wish it was a little harder to find than this. But you can look at firefighters in their last 5 years of service who have retired in the last 5 years. So this wasn't happening in 1980. This wasn't happening I'm sure it was. But you can't say this is a old school practice because firefighters who have retired in the last 5 years, last 5 years of service, firefighter, let's say firefighter X. Year 5, $12,000 in overtime alone. Year 4, $10,000 in overtime alone. The last 3 years, 27, 42, 25. Just so, in case he doesn't like his wife and the kids are at college and he likes to work a lot, let's just make sure that this is the trend, not the exception. Firefighter Y, 5 years to go, 2,600. 4 years to go, 13,700. Last 3 years, 10, 31, 27,600. Do one more. 5 years to go, 5,800. 4 years to go, 2,700. Last 3, 17, 24, 33,600. On the opposite end, you can see firefighters hired in the last 5 years, their first 5 years of service. Most of them have worked less than one shift in overtime. And it's that scheme that allows members of the fire department in a city that's had their taxes raised over 60%, in not a wealthy community where 73% of the kids who attend Fitzhugh Park School are on reduced lunch. It allows firemen to make $140,000, $130,000, $190,000 a year. The numbers up to this point are pretty telling. Even this year, last year I advocated and worked with Chief McCroby to hire a float firefighter with the hopes that that would alleviate all of our overtime problems. We did that, and we had $188,000 budgeted for 2016. As of last week, I'm not sure where it is after this week, but as of last week, we used $158,582 of that $188,000. So the overtime problem that I thought I was convinced the fire department convinced me last year when I was doing the budget that the overtime problem would be alleviated by this hire still exists. And we're probably a month away from blowing this year's overtime budget. Luckily, we'll extend that a little bit because now the junior firefighters are taking some overtime, but so that's cheaper. But it's just not acceptable. Not acceptable when we sit here and debate for hours, pennies. And that being said, I'll say that perhaps the best part of this job and the part that I'm most proud of is actually representing the Oswego Fire Department, representing the Oswego Police Department, representing the DPW, and coming to work here every day at City Hall, and representing the taxpayers. But that means I have to look out for the taxpayers too. I think our fire department is the class of the field as far as New York State's concerned. They're the best at fire protection. They run a world-class ambulance service that I don't discredit at all. Provide water rescue to a waterfront community, and I'm proud to be the mayor and have a fire department like this. But we have to get our act together. And when we get our act together, I look forward to working with the department. I hate layoffs. These last few weeks have been the hardest weeks of my life, the hardest week of Chief McCroby's life, I'm sure the hardest week of President Geraci's life. And I wasn't excited to come here tonight. I haven't been excited to come to work for about the last 2 weeks, especially since some of these guys who are affected I personally know. A lot of them are my age. A lot of them are starting families, buying homes in the city, and it's not easy. But it's the reality of the situation we're in. So I look forward to working with the department moving forward. I think I can help. I can help restore the reputation of the department. I think I'd like to be involved in the department on a daily basis, and I look forward to moving past this and working together. With that, I'll ask if the councilors have anything else they'd like to add on the budget. Councilor Walker.
Thank you. First and foremost, Mayor Barlow, just like you all, I'm not sure very much. And this is nothing personal against anybody here or if this is an attack. I don't want to do this. I got young kids going out, and I don't want to do something like that. It's a sad situation. What we got to do, we got to do. Like Mayor Barlow said earlier, we can't keep kicking this can down the road, because we'll be here next year as long as we can. I don't want to do that. I am going to be supporting this.
Councilor Emmons.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you to everybody that spoke tonight. I'd like to thank my fellow councilmen as well for all of their hard work on the budget. Deborah Code for all of her guidance. She has provided enormous guidance to all of us as we move through this process. Certainly the department heads for all of their work they have placed into preparing their budgets over the past few months. City of Oswego, we're in an unprecedented time of investment, from its expansions at SUNY Oswego, Port of Oswego, Oswego Health, and Novellis, to Exelon's investments in Fitzpatrick, to state initiatives such as the Downtown Revitalization Initiative, grants for our water and sewer, the Route 104 project, and countless other investments, especially by the citizens of this great city in their homes, properties, and in businesses. Oswego certainly is a city on the rise and continues to be so today. Yet among all of this positivity, Oswego has been straddled with the legacy of its poor decisions related to its budget, from such decisions related to the infamous water tunnel, leaving the city at a $1 million shortfall, to countless years of non-investment in our infrastructure and departments, to decisions to allowing the bloating of overtime among some of its personnel, along with many countless other examples. This has not only left the city in a potential budget shortfall moving forward, but has left our citizens, our taxpayers, with soaring taxes and water and sewer fees, which for many have become intolerable. Just as the tide is beginning to turn in terms of reinvestments in our city, we also must begin to turn the tide when it comes to our city budget, our departments, and our effectiveness as a whole. At a time when families every day make difficult decisions regarding their own budgets, we as a city must do the same. We can no longer kick the proverbial can down the road and expect different results, or to simply place it on the next administration because we fear unpopularity. For the majority of the council, we are new this year, and we have come into this process with eyes wide open. We have spent countless hours as a full council in public, and countless hours more behind closed doors, working on this individually, consulting, meeting, reviewing, and learning the ins and outs of the proposed 2017 budget, the history behind past decisions, and the impact on each future decision we need to make. We have evaluated the best of our abilities, the pros and cons of each decision. The proposed budget that we have tonight is a combination of a sensible budget proposed by the mayor, along with a series of amendments from the council to make cuts in other departmental budgets. And yes, there is more than one department tonight that could be potentially impacted this evening to overall further reduce this budget. There are things that are in the budget for which we all don't agree upon, and certainly that holds true for me. As with any decision at this level, we've had to compromise and make changes. However, at the end of the day, we as counselors must decide whether the budget overall, given the passage of the amendments, places Oswego on a pathway forward to fiscal responsibility. My hope is that this budget process is only the beginning of looking at our city budget and departments and seeking ways to reduce and find efficiencies while not neglecting the investments we do need to make. Just as the mayor has begun to look at overtime, for example, within our fire department, I do call upon the council to continue to review overtime procedures in our other departments, as well as spending, to help ensure that we are being fiscally responsible to our citizens. The time for bloated budgets and unsustainable tax increases has got to come to an end, and I call upon this council to make the tough decisions this evening that begin to put us on a pathway forward. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Any other comments? Councilor Gozick.
Yeah, excuse me. It's been very difficult, obviously, for all of us. I've met with a lot of people here. I've been over talking with constituents on a daily basis for the last several weeks with firemen, with the fire chief, the assistant chief, with other counselors. And again, just put my heart on my sleeve here. You know, my grandfather was a fireman his whole life. His brother was also part of the fire department, assistant chief. You know, and there's a lot of emotions over this issue here. But again, echoing Councilor Emmons, I didn't prepare a speech tonight, but I think the real thing we need to focus on is sustainability for the future. What we've seen recently here in Oswego, again, and we could go back 20, 30 years for this, there's a lack of vision on the part of our leaders. We could go back to 1996 under the Hamill administration. We can look back at, I won't use the word, but some of the decisions that were made, for instance, with our not only the water tunnel being sold to the Municipal Water Board, we go back and look at the High Dam deal and others that the city has paid for a generation or more, decades. And we can go back and look, and nothing was done to prepare for it. And again, we talk about kicking the can down the road here. We can come back and look again over the last 15 years. Again, sustainability is what's been left out. And I think Union President had mentioned we got to make it about the numbers. And I've had so many people call me and tell me you have to make it about the numbers. I mean, the numbers don't lie. We have the data. We have the studies. And these numbers, I'm a teacher, okay? I've been working 15 years. My salary will never even be close to this. Most of my work is for free, pro bono. I do my work at home. I do it on the weekends. Okay, so with the overtime, you know, I can't tell you the turn I saw in public sentiment. I want to be honest with all the firemen because I really took a lot of time to go out of my way, try to reach out, and other counselors I know did as well. But again, with abuses like this, the real shame here is that when we look at it and look at the future, what I was hoping was that we can get these young guys back on there. That's why I was reaching out, not because I don't support the mayor. I support the cuts because I believe that it's necessary and it's long overdue. When we look at the numbers, we compare the ratios, it says it all. We have, Oswego has one firefighter for every 272 citizens. The study we saw with 15 different cities of comparable size, I believe the average is around 460, 470. So again, this is an extremely difficult decision, and as Councilor Walker has pointed out, it's not personal, and at this point here, right now, you know, I am in favor of the mayor's budget, and I am in favor of these cuts, but it is not an easy decision. And I think when we look at it, it's easy to have the emotions and you know, sympathy play a huge role here, but I think the bottom line is we need to look at, as Councilor Emmons said, all departments. We need to look across and look at how we can be more sustainable for the future. With scares like the nuclear plant almost closing out here, the last minute they come and swoop in and save it. With Exelon buying it, I mean, the reality is we need to prepare for the future. Right now there's a lot of momentum, but I just wanted to say, you know, from the bottom of my heart, I'm sorry. I apologize to everybody here that's going to lose their job tonight, and I hope that those people will be able, well, if it passes, but obviously I hope those people will be able to come back on board, and if we can find a way to get the older firemen out of there over the next few years, if we can work with them and their union, find ways to offer early retirement incentives, to cut back and bring some of these guys back, I'm all for it, and I hope I can work with the fire department. I'd like to commend them, because I know they all do a great job. I've been over there recently several times, and they gave my son a tour of the fire department, and I got to admit, like the mayor said, it's been very difficult, like the last few days. You know, I hardly even want to show my face walking around town trying to think about what's the right decision here, and really it came down to the last few days. So for me, I am supporting the mayor's budget, and I applaud him for taking the lead and having the vision that the city has lacked sorely for so long. So thank you.
Any other comments? Seeing none, clerk, please call the roll. Well, before we do that, I propose a 3.87% tax increase. With all of the amendments, as we vote, the budget will have about a 1.97% tax increase with all the amendments. If there's no other comments, clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Van Buren.
Yes.
Counselor Cordino.
Yes.
Counselor Reynolds. Counselor McLaughlin.
Yes.
Counselor Emmons.
Yes.
Counselor Walker. Counselor Gozick.
Yes.
The resolution passes 7-0.
Clerk, please call resolution 321A.
To approve the use of the Veterans Stage by the College Community Relations Committee for a welcome back concert to be held Thursday, September 1st, 2016 from 7 to 9 p.m.
Counselor Emmons. Counselor Corradino. Any comments? Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Van Buren.
Yes.
Counselor Cordino.
Yes.
Counselor Reynolds. Counselor McLaughlin.
Yes.
Counselor Emmons.
Yes.
Counselor Walker. Counselor Gozick.
Yes.
Resolution passes 7-0.
Motion to adjourn. Counselor Van Buren, Counselor Walker. Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Van Buren.
Yes.
Counselor Cordino.
Yes.
Counselor Reynolds. Counselor McLaughlin.
Yes.
Counselor Emmons.
Yes.
Counselor Walker. Counselor Gozick.
Yes.
The resolution passes 7-0.
Meeting is adjourned.